Good morning. So this weekend we have all actually been sick. We got that cold from crew and it's kicking our butts. We all got stuffy noses, sore throats. Kenley kind of caught the worst of it actually this weekend, but hopefully we're getting better. But since we've been sick, we didn't really vlog much yesterday, so we're kind of switching directions with yesterday's vlog that we're posting today. And instead of showing you too much of what yesterday looked like, because there's a lot of laying in bed all day, we actually thought we would explain a little bit more just about Florida, our plans for Florida, why we chose there, what our timeline's looking like, things like that. So crew just woke up. We're getting him his first initial bottle just to get him by until dinner, and then I'm gonna grab Kenley and we'll talk about it real fast. All right, so we moved out to the couch. Crew's just eating his bottle out here, so you'll probably hear his loud slurping just in the background. So the first question I guess we'll address is, why are we moving out of Utah in the first place? So kind of just to walk through the story of all the decisions leading up to this. We are currently living in Kenley's parents' basement, for those of you who don't know. And basically what happened was we had it lined up for us to move into a rental house here in Layton, and kind of somewhat last second it fell through. We weren't able to find any really good options within our budget for what we were looking for next in the meantime. And so Kenley's parents graciously allowed us just to live with them. Because we were living with them, we really wanted to have it already figured out where we would move to next. So we started looking for, other places very early on, even before we were moved in here. And we kind of really hit the realization that real estate's kind of a joke in Utah right now. So we kind of hypothetically started looking at different options outside of Utah. We've always talked about it in the past, but it's never really been the perfect situation for it, which it never is. But we started hypothetically, if we were to look at this place, what would it be like? If we were looking at this state, what would the cost of living look like there? Things like that. And the more we hypothetically were looking at different places, the more we realized how realistic it really could be for us to live outside of Utah, as intimidating as that is for both of us that have lived our whole lives in Utah. I'm gonna pause real fast. There's Kenley. She's just getting a birthday gift ready for Avery. Anyways, so we kind of really did some more research and took it a little bit more serious into what different places we could live outside of Utah. And we narrowed it down to 3 different states that we were really looking at. We were looking into Texas, Tennessee, and then Florida. And Texas we ruled out pretty early on. There's just not too much motivating us to live in Texas. It's
way too hot.
Way too hot for Kenley, too dry. And, the other places had other things that were pulling us there. So we started just looking at Tennessee and Florida. And then the deciding factor really came down to a couple of things for us. We each had kind of different deciding factors. But with that said, keep in mind, I work remote. Kenley now has some remote jobs that she works as well. And with her aesthetics, she can pick up a clientele anywhere we live. So we really weren't limited too much to a place because of work. And so really what drew us to those places... Oh, Crew's done with his bottle. Hold on. You say hi. Say good morning, everyone. Basically, the deciding factors for us that chose Florida over Tennessee. In Tennessee, we were looking around Knoxville. Was really the area we would have wanted to live. There were a couple deciding factors for each of us that were different than the other person. So for me, where, it's a big move for us, I wanted to be set on at least a state we would be moving to very early on. And what kind of convinced me on Florida rather than Tennessee early on was the prices, the cost of living, all that stuff, and the availability that we were seeing in Florida already so far. And that made me feel comfortable more with Florida very early on, just because, it was one of the for sure set things we could decide on and feel like there was already opportunity there for us, or availability. And then on Kenley's side of things, her big thing was, having still some familiarity where we'd be living outside of Utah for the first time. And if you didn't know already, I don't know how you could know Kenley and not know this, but Kenley is a big fan of Disney, and that's made me a big fan of Disney myself. And so we actually went on our honeymoon to Disney World. And even though that's kind of Kenley's first time in Florida, I've been to Florida some other times just on other vacations. But even though our, vacationing experience, our times in Florida have been very limited, there's still just the familiarity of Disney World, the parks, all that stuff just that would be close by to where we end up moving. And so that was a big draw for Kenley, being able to, have that for sure familiarity to fall back on, whereas Tennessee, there's not as much of that. There's not as many things like that for us.
Yeah, and also I just thought it would be a cool experience to be able to give Crew to be able to go to Disney World, anytime we want to, especially when Dylan's working. That would be something that Crew and I can do even just for a few hours. So that was a huge draw for me.
Crew's over there playing.
I grew up going to Disneyland every year, so Disney's like a huge part of my childhood, and I would love to give those same sweet fun memories to Crew. So I think it'll be super fun, and then maybe when we come back to Utah, whenever that may be, we'll go back and take our other kids there too.
The other thing too, like outside of the parks, is there's just a lot of other things to do in Florida that
like
we
the
are already
beach.
familiar with, like going to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
We know there's springs in Florida that we can visit.
Yeah.
We both have, friends that we've made that live in Florida currently. Even since we've decided to move to Florida, we've even made some more friends with people who live there. There's already been a lot of things telling us that Florida's the right place for us. We feel good about it.
The few people that I've told, just like close family and friends, have like asked like, why would you leave your family when you don't have like a job or something pulling us down there? But I really think it's just going to be a fun adventure for us and a change of scenery, because we've both grown up in Utah our whole lives. So it's not necessarily like about that, like we're gonna miss our family a ton, but we're planning on visiting them as much as we possibly can, like for major holidays and things. But I think it'll just be really fun for us, and like sunshine is a big thing for me mentally, so I'm really excited to see how that affects me, especially during the winter season. Anyways, I think it's just gonna be a fun adventure for our family, and something that I'm sure when we're older and we come back here, we're gonna look back on and be super excited, and not excited, but super grateful that we did that and had that experience together.
Yeah, we're excited to bring you all along with us, the whole process of moving and just our life living down there. In terms of timeline though, so we are living with Kenley's parents just for the next 6 months until February. And we're using this time really to finish paying off all of Crew's hospital bills. It's just allowing us to pay them off a lot faster, so we can just get that off our shoulders, get it done with. And then after that, we're also going to be able to save some money at the same time for us to use when moving. We have plenty of time to be saving and plan things out. And then in terms of how long we will live there, we don't have a for sure time. We don't want to go into this, looking forward or just constantly planning on the day we'll move back to Utah. But I did promise Kenley we would be back to Utah eventually. We're looking a couple years to maybe 5 years at the most. We want Crew to grow up here still and go to school here, so we'll be back for that for sure. And we don't plan on having any other kids outside of Utah, so that's kind of the timeline for length of being gone. But we're excited. We think it'll be good. And like I said, we're not planning on a specific time to get back to Utah, because we don't want to just be constantly looking for that time to get back to Utah. We want to be able to just enjoy being in Florida too. But yeah, that's, kind of our plans. We're excited to have it announced. We know February is a long time to be announcing it this early. It's a big thing, and we decided we're sharing our life with you, our daily life. And it's such a big thing that it's going to be part of our daily life for the next 6 months, even afterwards. And so we didn't want to feel like we were constantly hiding it as we were vlogging or having to avoid saying it. So you'll hear us talk about Florida probably a lot now, but we're excited. We feel really good about it after lots of praying and been talking about it. We both feel like it's where we're meant to go. With that said, if anybody lives in Florida or has moved across country, have any tips for us, things you think we should know, we would appreciate that. We've never moved across country, so that is a little intimidating.
Not excited for all the bugs and little friends we're gonna find.
So any tips on that? Kenley would love. No.
Help me!
It really is, though, something we're excited for. Both of us are excited for, even though Kenley doesn't admit to it as much. It's a scary thing, but we're excited, so it'll be good. But yeah, we're excited to take you all along with us on this adventure. We're excited to have that kind of out now. Excited to be taking the next steps for it as well. We know our family's excited for us, even though they're gonna miss us. Kenley's mom just barely said to us just now that she's gonna be praying us back to Utah soon. But we know they're still excited for us, and you know, they trust us to make the decisions that are right for our life, and that's what this is. This is what's right for us right now. But that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry, the past couple of vlogs have been weird. We had technology issues and then just us being sick. It all was the perfect storm for this weekend's vlogs, but we're gonna get right back on track this week. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.